Hey guys, it's Lori with LM's Crafty Creations, and I have a project to share with you as well as a tutorial if you want to hang on with me after I'm done with the review. This is the project that I'm doing for countrycraftcreations.com for the September Craftology box. The paper collection is called Twilight by Authentique, and it's really gorgeous. I always love the images that Authentique does for, well, all their collections, but for Halloween. I just love these vintage images here. So I've done one on the cover. I've layered this cut apart in orange paper from my stash and then in black cardstock as well. I've done the front with the spider web paper. This ribbon is not part of the Craftology box, nor is this brad right here, but this twine and this gorgeous, can you see this? This spider web charm does come in the kit, super cute. And then this has two spines, and then there is the back, the stripy paper. So this project I've already showed on my channel once before. I did this project with it with paper that I also got at countrycraftcreations.com, and so everyone wanted a tutorial for this album, so that's what this is. I have made it larger, so you will notice it's a little larger because the other album didn't really accommodate, it was too small for what was inside. So let's go inside. I've used a little elastic band here, and this is just an eyelet layered on a piece of doubled up cardstock. Or I'm sorry, not an eyelet, a brad. So it opens up like this and kind of unfolds. So you see it has two sides. And right here I did this ribbon right here. This has frayed edges. It's super cute. I used every bit of it that I had in the collection. It came with the kit. And then this little blingy trim is from my stash. So I did a corner pocket. And then I just did, this was on the sticker sheet, so it's just a cute little tag. And then I double backed this cut apart here, just a little photo mat. Inside I have the sticker here. Oh, I forgot about this side. This side I left blank. I've left this where you could tuck your photo behind it and just did a sticker from the collection. We got two sticker sheets with this album, or this kit is what I'm trying to say. So here I have two cut aparts just to use as photo mats, or you could journal on them with a white pen. And then I've stuck just a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 photo mat in the other pocket. So two pockets here. And the way this works is that it's really like an accordion fold type album, but I actually just turn it one page at a time, just like a book. So on this side, instead of using my place photo here stamp everywhere, I have these Tim Holtz Blueprint Halloween stamps. I love Tim Holtz Blueprint stamps. So I've used that here just to give it a little bit of extra decoration. The black seam binding did come in our kit. And then I have mounted a sticker here. And then this is a pocket with just two plain photo mats. And then here, I have, again, this ribbon trim, a sticker from the collection. This little witch charm also came in our kit with the twine. And here I just attached this by punching an eyelet in the pocket. And then I just have two cut aparts. This is one of my favorite ones, and a photo mat. So super cute little corner pocket. So it's a really simple album and easy to put together. Here, again, I used my blueprint stamps. So these are photo places, some more of that trim, and then just mounted stickers. These are two flaps that flip open. I'm not going to be able to get it all in frame, but I'll show you a little bit. These are just photo mats that I made with scraps. I think they're 4 1/4 by maybe 5 1/4. But you could do any size you wanted. I left this open on the side so you could tuck it in. To get the most out of my paper for the collection, to mat my pages, I would take like a 12 by 12 sheet and cut it in half at 6 inches. And then I would do these borders here, and so I could tuck things behind them. So keep that in mind when you're decorating this album if you're interested in that. So here I did use my place photo here stamp. And then here is the other side. I did a little sticker, and then again a photo mat. These are full 4x6 photos, whereas these are 4x4. So flip that over. Here I actually I cut into the paper. This is like a border paper, and I cut into it here, and I put the ribbon trim on top of that where I cut. And then I put 2 smaller photo mats, and then you can tuck something behind this sticker if you want to. On this side, I used one of those super cute treat bags that came with the kit, and I layered the double ruffle ribbon as well as this frayed trim and did this bling here. A sticker from the collection, and then inside here I just have a cut apart photo mat, and then I only did 1 photo mat in the top pocket, little angled pocket here. And then on the kind of like the gusset for the album, I did more of this ribbon trim. So now we're going to flip it all this way, and we're going to flip it back the other way. So because it is, like I said, it's an accordion fold, so it folds out. So this one folds this way. And here I cut these stickers out and mounted them on cardstock. This is a little cut apart from the collection. A photo mat flap here. This will hold a 4x6. And this is a 4x4. Just some decorations here. I love the spider paper and the web. Turn it over. On the next page, I have stuck a little cut apart in here. In this pocket, I have added 2 photo mats and just some stickers, some seam binding. Flip it again, and we have another cut apart, another flap. These are like they're less than 3 inches by 4 inches. This I left open, and I've put these little stickers here. And then on the last page, I had taken these little tags from the sticker sheet and mounted them and added some seam binding to them and tucked them in this little folder. And then of course you could put your photo here. On the back cover, I did 2 corner pockets and then just stuck some photo mats there. So you see where in places I pieced the paper together to make sure that I had enough to do the whole album, and I did. I had enough paper. I didn't have any, I only had scraps left when I was done, but I had, you have plenty to do the whole album. And so that is my project. So I want to go through and tell you exactly how to make this. So for those of you who haven't visited my channel before, I always put the measurements in the description box down below. So you'll see all the measurements, the cutting guide that you'll need to cut to make this project down below. What else do I want to tell you? For this project, I am going to do a special treat for you guys, and I'm going to do the entire cover as well. So you can see how I laid out this cover, how I covered it with the paper, and all of that. So that way you know how to do that. Because a lot of people have been asking me how I do my covers. So I'll show you this time. But I'm going to do that part at the end of the video in case there's people who already know how to do that and don't need to see it. Okay, so let's get started with the pages. So you're going to want to take a piece. Your first piece is going to be cut to 7 inches by 9 inches. You're going to want to score on the 9-inch side at 1 inch and then at 2 inches. So this is the piece that's actually going to attach to the book. So you're going to fold on those score lines, and I've kind of already done mine. And you're going to get this right here. So this piece is going to attach to your book, and this one is going to hang out and is going to be our functioning hinge. So now you want to take and you want to cut 6 pieces at 8 inches by 7 inches, and you're going to score on the 8-inch side at 1 inch. So I did quite large hinges, I don't know, just because I wanted to. And I'm going to use my art glitter glue to put all of this together, like I always do. It's my favorite glue. And so on here, I'm going to attach these. I'm going to put my glue on the inside of the hinge, and I usually cover it in a generous amount of glue. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my base piece with my score lines over here, and I'm going to slip this piece under here up to the score line and fold it over. Make sure it's even and then it lines up perfectly. And let's just make sure that that glue adheres to the paper. Sometimes I like to turn it over and just make sure it's all smoothed out. Okay, so this is our first piece. Then you're going to take your next piece. This is a 7 by 8 piece. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to put your glue on the inside of the hinge. You're going to tuck it underneath the page, but this time it's on the opposite side. You're going to line it up and stick it down. Make sure it's nice and even. Now mine's folding a little bit, so it looks like it's not even, but it'll eventually all flatten out. This cardstock tends to bow, but once you put your paper on top of it, it will be fine. So now I'm going to take my next piece, and I'm just going to keep going with this process until I'm out of pieces. Oops. Sticking it under. Do not go over that score line, otherwise your page won't shut properly. Next piece. Got 3 more to go. Tucking it on the opposite side. Make sure I don't have any glue hanging out here on the back. Should have done that with these other pieces too. I think we're good there. Good. Okay, got 2 more to go. And then we're going to build off of these pieces. Oops, whoops, I got glue on my page. I'm getting glue everywhere. Make sure it doesn't stick together. And here's my last piece. Whoops. So you should have this, once you get done, you should have this long accordion fold piece. Here's your hinge and all these pieces. So we're going to start on the front. Okay, the first thing I'm going to glue down is the angled pocket, and I'm going to glue all of the pockets and everything to my page before I attach this to the book. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to take this piece of paper. This is for the angled pocket on the first page, page 1, and the way I labeled my pages in the measurements, like this is page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think, and then I flipped it over and did the next set. So I'll try to walk you through it as I go. I hope it's not confusing. So, angled pocket. Cut this to 5 inches by 7.5 inches. You're going to score on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 7.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And you're going to take your ruler, or actually you're going to take your scissors, and you want to miter your corner. And when I say miter your corner, you have this corner here where the score lines meet, and it forms this little box. I want to cut this off at an angle, like this, and then my scissors are going to pass over that score line where both score lines meet. Doing this just takes off some bulk from your pocket, and so when I say miter your corners, that's what I'm talking about. Now we're going to go ahead and fold on our score lines. And the way I do my angled pocket is I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to put my ruler up here. You notice that my hinges are folded in. So make sure they're folded in when you do your measurement. Go up here. And I'm going to make a little mark with my pencil at 2 inches. Okay. I'm going to go back down here on this side, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a mark at 2 inches. Now I'm going to join these two marks together. So, like this. Oops. It's not mark on my new little background here. Okay, so this is what I have, and then you're just going to cut this, and this will give us our angled pocket. And I like to go in and clean up my pencil marks, because when you get to, those will show if, make sure you use a pencil. They will show later on if you don't mark them off. So now I have an angled pocket, and it's going to fit on this page perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. So now this is my page that has the flap open this way, the first page. So I'm going to add my glue, and I'm going to glue this down, just like so. And I just get mine, I do get it pretty much right up against that fold. I mean, it's just the tiniest bit away from the fold. Okay. Now you know on this front page we have a pocket here and then a pocket down here. There's a trick to the bottom pocket. So for the bottom pocket, you're going to cut a piece at 3 inches by 8 inches. You're going to score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 8-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. You're going to miter your corners just like we did previously. And you're going to fold on your score lines. Whoops. And what I do is I'm going to glue this piece down first. So I'm going to glue it down right here. Okay. Right on top of this pocket, I only added glue to that one hinge. I'm going to make sure I line it up. And you're going to leave the rest of it undone. So the trick is to making both pockets work is, let me get this trash out of the way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut part of this hinge off. But in order to know where to cut, I like to just kind of line it up with where the bottom of this angled pocket is right here. See where this angled pocket starts? I'm just going to make a little pencil mark right here on this pocket. And I'm going to cut this hinge off right here, all the way here. Okay? So that's the easiest way to do this to show you. So I've made my little mark here. You can see it. I'm going to cut here. And I'm going to cut this off. Okay? Actually, I'm gonna angle this a little bit instead of keeping it so straight. There we go. So now we have a little hinge right here. So when I get ready to glue this down, I'm going to add my glue here, and then I'm going to add a little bead of glue right here down at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that right here where we just cut off the hinge, and then I'm going to add glue here and I'm going to stick it down. However, I'm not going to do that until I get ready to mat my page, because it's so much easier to mat this piece if you don't have this attached. You can mat it that way, but I find that it's more difficult to try to get it in all the tuck spots. I just mat it just like this, mat this page. I even go ahead and mat this page, and then I put my glue right here just like I told you, glue it down, and then I mat this piece and you're done. Okay? That's the easiest way to do this page. So we're going to flip this way and go to the next page. So okay. Yes. Here, this page has a large pocket on this side. So this pocket you're going to cut to, this is page 2. Cut it to 5 inches by 8 inches and score on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 8-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Miter the corners. Fold on your score lines, and then we'll glue it down, and that is it for that page. This album it's super simple, but it's all in how you decorate it, is how you make it look sophisticated. Okay, and I'm going to stay away from my fold. Do you see here? Let me show you. I'm gluing this down here. My opening is right here. And see how far away I am from that fold. This is where my pocket begins, and then my crease is over here. So you want to stay away from the fold so that you have plenty of room and your page opens and closes easily. Otherwise, you'll regret that. Okay, that's it for this page. This page has a corner pocket. So on this page, you're going to cut one piece to 5.5 by 5.5, page 3, and you're going to score on all 4 sides at 1/2 inch. And this is what you get, a square with 4 score lines. And then of course I left my trimmer all the way across the room. So instead of going to grab it, I'm just going to take my ruler, but you could put this in your trimmer and just trim diagonally directly here. But since I'm not going to get up and stretch my headphone cord everywhere, I'm just going to do this manually. And I'm going to cut this pocket. So what you're going to want to save this piece of this pocket, because this piece goes on the inside of the front cover. So to get ready for that, I'm going to go ahead and miter the corner of this one. I'm going to fold on the score lines. And on a corner pocket, when you fold all the score on the score lines, it creates like these little wings, and you want to snip those off. And we're going to do that to the other piece as well. So this one set to the side. And then this one, we want to do the same thing. And we're going to glue this one down to page 3. So let me just get this a little bit, make sure it's creased really well. And I'm going to add my glue. And I'm going to glue it down right in the corner. And that's it for this page. Okay, now we're going to flip this over. And this one has 2 flaps on each side. So yeah, so I called both of these page 4 instead of page 4 and 5 like I should have, so that might get confusing. Actually, I'll change that in the instructions. So never mind, when you read it, it'll be correct. So I cut 2 flaps to, and I better write that, 4 and 5. Make me a note to change. These are cut to 5 by 7, and then you're going to score on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch. And then fold on your score lines for both pieces. And you're just going to add 1 to this side and 1 to this side. So you're going to put your glue on the outside of the hinge. Excuse me. And you're going to add it right on the side. Okay, just like this. And then you're going to do the same to the other. I got a little tickle in my throat all of a sudden for some reason. I'm going to add this one to this side. And these are the ones where I did the smaller photo mats on this side and the larger ones on this side. Depending on which photo, how many, what photos you have, you can do larger photo mats on each side, whatever you prefer. And then also, I mentioned in the review, to mat these, I cut my decorative paper to 6 inches by 6 3/4 so that I could get the most out of my design paper. Okay, so that's pages 4 and 5. So for page 6, here we don't do anything. I just decorated the page with my pattern paper. And for page 7, you have a large pocket. So I cut 1 pocket to 6.5 inches by 7 7/8 of an inch. You're going to score on the 7 7/8 of an inch at 1/2 inch on each side, and then on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. Miter the corners. And then we're going to do an angle on this one as well. So I'm going to set this aside real quick. And let's fold on our score lines, and then let's talk about this angle. Now for this one, what I did is I measured, you know what, I'm going to need to look at the book to figure this one out. To make sure I do it correctly. So this is at 4 inches. So that's what I'm going to do. So on this pocket, I'm going to take my ruler. So my hinges are folded in, and I'm going to make a mark at 4 inches right here. And I'm just going to measure from this corner. So I'm going to flip it because it's easier for me to do it that way. I'm going to line up my ruler with this corner here, and then again with this mark down here. And I'm going to draw a line. And I'm going to cut on that line, just like I did for the other angled pocket. You can make this angle deeper if you wanted. It doesn't have to be the exact same way that I'm doing it. You could make a sharper angled pocket or do however you like. So now I'm going to get my page back, and we are on the page that has the double scored hinges, and that's where I'm going to add this pocket. I'm going to lay it flat so that I can glue it down. And once you glue it down, the pocket should be slightly shorter than the page, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to stick it down, and I'm going to put it up against, actually I'm going to fold this score line in so I don't go over it. And I'm going to stick it up against here. And so the pocket is flush with just about with this side of the page. But on this side, you'll notice there's a little gap, and that is on purpose, so that when you shut the page, it closes correctly. Otherwise, it would the page would gape open. Okay. So now we're going to flip the book over and go do our decorating on the other side. So this is the front of the book. We're going to flip it open this way. And this one only has a flap on it. So the flap is cut to 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, and you're going to score on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. Fold on that score line and add your glue to the outside of the hinge. And now you're going to put this flap right here, but make sure again you keep the, I'm going to center it and I'm going to leave a gap, just like I always do. Takes a minute for this glue to adhere to this paper for some reason. So see where I've left the gap? Okay. So this flap is going to fold back and forth like so. That is it for that page. So on the next one, there's nothing on this side. I just decorated it with paper. On this side you have a pocket. Your pocket is going to be cut to 4 inches by 7 7/8. You're going to score on the 4 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 7 7/8 of an inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Miter your corners. And then fold on the score lines. And add your glue. Whoops, I got it on the inside there. Don't want to glue my pocket down, my hinge down. Okay, and then I'm going to line it up with this side of the pocket. So again, once you line it up with that side, I have measured it to where you'll have a little 1/8 of an inch gap right here before you get to the score line. So the next page is the same as the previous one. It just has a flap in the middle. So we're going to turn this over. And we're going to add the same size flap. You're going to cut it to 4 3/4 by 6 1/4 and score on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And you're going to add it the same way that you did the other one. Add your glue. Now if you wanted to add 2 of these, if you wanted more room in your book, of course it's going to make it bulkier, so don't forget that. If you do add anything else to this book, because we don't have hinges, the more you add, the bulkier it'll make it. You could add a flap on this side too if you wanted to, so that way you would have 2. So that's it for this page, and then we're going to turn it over. And you know what? On this page, I just decorated it, so there's nothing on that. So that's it for the pages. Now you do have a corner pocket on the back cover. So let's talk about the cover. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. Those are the pockets for the back cover. I have trash everywhere. And I'm going to put this aside. So for the back cover, where's my pieces? I'm missing the spines. Okay. I've already cut my pieces. So for the pieces, you're going to need 1 piece cut at 8 1/4 by 7 1/2. And then for your 2 spines, those are going to be 1 1/4 by 7 1/2. They go like this. And then the shorter piece is 4 1/2 by 7 1/2. It goes on this side. And then the larger piece is 5 1/2 by 7 1/2. It goes on this side. Okay? So it overlaps just slightly. I didn't want to do a full gatefold. I wanted them to overlap. So if you want to do like a gatefold album, you could do that instead. It's up to you. But this is how I did mine. So that's what the instructions are for. So let's talk about covering your chipboard. So in order to not have my seams in strange places, I'm going to definitely need 2 pieces of 12-inch cardstock cut to 9 inches. Is that right? I did 9 1/2. Why did I do 9 1/2? Let's look at this. Oh, that's because so how I measure my covers. This is 7 1/2 inches. That's going to be the width of my book. So I'm going to add 2 inches to that. So that would be 9 1/2 to cover that. So this is 2 pieces cut at 9 1/2 by 12 1/2. I'm going to join these 2 pieces together. So to do that, I'm going to measure at 1/2 inch right here. I'm going to add some glue on this edge. Oh, I'm getting it everywhere. Pretty good at that. And I'm going to glue these together. Like so. So now I know I'm going to have a seam here. Now let me tell you from experience, after having just covered that album, this is not going to be enough. You're going to need a little bit more. And so what I did is I took a scrap piece of paper. I have no idea. Let me just tell you what I did. This is 5 inches by 9 1/2. It doesn't have to be 5 inches. You don't need it that long, but that's just what my scrap piece of paper was. I'm going to add this over here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw the line. I'm going to add the glue. And I'm going to attach the paper. So this will allow me to control somewhat, I think, where my seams are going to go. So let me put this away for a second and then let's play around with this. So I can't really zoom out anymore, so we're going to have to do the flippity-thoo thing. So I know that this is the larger one, and it's going to need to go over here. This smaller one goes over here somewhere. The larger one goes in the middle, and then I have my spine. I know that I don't want this where the papers are joined together to be on an edge that causes problems. Make sure that where your paper is joined together is, at least an inch away from where you're going to fold your book, okay? So this looks about good. I'm going to have this piece here. Now you'll see I still have, about 3 1/2 inches. I can push that away some. Or maybe let's do it closer. 3 inches. There we go. 3 inches from the edge. Now what I like to do before I start this that I forgot about already is I like to draw a 1-inch line at the bottom. So, because that's where I'm going to line up my chipboard. I need at least 1 inch at the top and the bottom to fold over my chipboard. Or to fold the paper over my chipboard, better yet. It's been a while since I've done a cover on camera, guys. I feel like I'm stumbling all over the place. Usually this process is me by myself. Okay, so I've got my 1-inch pencil mark drawn. And you can see that I've already added score tape to all of my pieces. So I also add glue before I glue it down. So now I'm going to take this piece And I'm going to do 1/4 inch gusset in between both of these. So now I'm going to start gluing. So I'm going to take the back off. This is the 5.5 inch by 7.5 inch piece. I'm going to take all my tape off. I'm going to add some glue. And I just get messy with it. And I'm going to line this up with that bottom pencil mark to make sure it's straight. I'm going to press it down. Okay. I'm going to take my bone folder, press down, and make sure that it adheres really well. Okay. And you can flip it over to the opposite side and do that too if you like. Now to get what gusset I need here, I'm going to take my 1/4 inch score tape. And I'm going to run that along here. So I'm going to butt it up right against the chipboard. And there it is. Oh, I feel like I want to sneeze. Don't you hate that? That's inconvenient. Okay. Now I'm going to take one of my 1 1/4 inch spines. I'm just going to add a little strip of glue because I just like the added security of glue, except for I just got it like everywhere but on the back of the chipboard. And I'm going to stick it right here. Make sure you line it up with your pencil mark at the bottom. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Now I'm going to take my 1/4 inch tape. I'm going to do the same. If you don't have 1/4 inch tape, that's fine. I just find that this is easy. You could just draw a line at 1/4 inch and line it up that way. I just like the tape. And plus, when I go in to add my paper on top of this chipboard, I like the tape here because when I burnish in or whatever my paper, it sticks to it. So I think that it's helpful. Now that I didn't sneeze, my nose feels like it needs to run. I'm sorry. Allergies. Okay, this is our large piece, and let me just make sure. I butt it up against here just to make sure it's the same size and I have the right side, because that would be my luck, to glue down the wrong side on camera. Okay. Now I'm going to line it up against my pencil line and against this score tape. Okay. Now we're going to keep going, adding the score tape again, because now we're going to do the other spine. Make sure you get it against there. Ah, it's stuck. Now we're going to add this spine. Lining it up and pressing it down. Another 1/4 inch, and we're almost done with this part. Hang in there with me. This is a lot of people ask me about this. This is my bone folder. It's my favorite bone folder. It just so happens to have like these sharp edges because I use it so often, but doesn't come like that. I like to use it to take my tape off because usually I don't have any nails, but I've been trying to grow them out lately. Anyway, I bought this at bonefolder.com and it's my favorite one. I like how long it is because it fits in your hand nicely. My adhesive might be overkill, but I like to know that my projects are going to stay together. Okay, now this is my last piece. And I've got all of this stuff in the way. And no trash can over here. Where's my coffee can? Okay, now to the sides where I have excess, I'm going to draw my 1-inch line. And I'm going to cut off the excess because I don't need that much. So there's my line. I'm just going to cut this off. And that's not very neat, but it really doesn't matter. And I'm going to do the same to this side. 1 inch and cut. Doesn't have to be super neat. You're going to cover it up with paper. Now what I like to do, and if y'all won't humor me for a second, I'm going to put you on mute so I can go blow my nose. This is going to drive me crazy the whole entire video. Just a second. Okay, I apologize. I'm back. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to take my tape off of these. So if you did the tape, go ahead and take your the backing off your tape. All right. My glue is getting a bit gunky. Then what I do is I add glue around here. Tape around here. So I usually take my 1/4 inch tape and I add glue. I keep calling it glue. I add tape all the way around. And I also do 1/2 inch on the bottom. So you can see I'm starting over here. I can't get it all in frame, so I apologize. And I'm going to add tape. But I'm also going to use glue. So we'll go through that too once I get ready to fold everything over. This is called the Perfect Trim Ruler. I don't use it for anything except for to cut my score tape. So you don't have to have this particular ruler. You could have any ruler or a whatchamacallit, even a credit card will work if that's what you got. An old credit card. Ah. The Perfect Trim Ruler is actually supposed to, I got it at perfecttrimruler.com, and it's supposed to help you miter your corners, but after doing it for so long, I really don't need anything to help with that. But when you're starting out, it's kind of a nice tool to have. So this is how I do all of my covers. I do them all the exact same way every time. It's a combination of glue and tape, just because I feel like that is going to get me the most bang for my buck. Now I got one more edge here to cover. And this thing is a bear to cover, just because it's kind of awkward because it's so long. Okay, done with this score tape. Okay, now I'm done with my 1/2 inch score tape. I'm going to go back with my little bone folder and kind of just make sure that everything is really adhered down really well. Okay, now I'm going to miter the corners. So here's how I do it. You want to leave about 1/8 of an inch from this corner to here. So I just eyeball it. I just take it and cut. That's all I do. I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Okay. And that's it. Now I'm going to remove some of my tape backing. So I'm going to start up here. I'm trying to get this in frame so you can see it as much as possible. I like to remove this side and then the two side pieces and then the top pieces. This is this side. I'm removing this and I'm going to remove this top piece. Actually, I'm going to leave that there for a second. You can remove it, but then I'm going to need my glue. What I like to do is lift this up and I'm going to fold against my chipboard and start bending that paper. Okay? Bend the fibers of that paper. I'm going to pick it up and do the same thing on the opposite side. Bending the fibers of the paper. Get it used to folding. Do it slowly. Start kind of getting it used to going over. Okay, just breaking in those fibers. Now I'm going to take this strip off. I'm going to add glue right where the tape, there is no tape. There's a little space where there is no tape. That's where I'm adding this strip of squiggly glue line. And now I'm going to take my bone folder and kind of rub it along the top and then start folding it over. And I tend to start in the middle. I don't know why. I just do. And I'm going to go all the way to the end and just keep folding. And I'm going to use my bone folder as I go, getting it over that crease, making sure to smooth it out as I go. I've got some glue seeping out on the end, doesn't matter. And then I take my bone folder and I just kind of rub it along the edge. Make sure that that's really adhered as well as it can be. So I always do the top and the bottom first. So now I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to kind of gently start folding this over, breaking the fibers in the paper to get it used to bending. Now I'm going to take off my score tape, my tape backing. I'm going to add my glue just like I did before. And then again, I'm going to start using my bone folder and my fingers to really get a tight edge around that chipboard. Okay? Just like that. Keep going all the way down. It will buckle up on you if you let it, but if you just keep bending and using your bone folder, you'll get it. Okay? Here we go. Running it all along the back. So our top and bottom are done. Now I'm going to do the sides. So to tuck in this corner, I like to take this edge of my bone folder and see how jagged it is right there. That's from doing this. I put it right in here and I press this corner in using my bone folder. Just like that. You see that fold that I have right here? Let me see. Really kind of see how it's just folded in barely right there? That's what you want. Okay, to make sure that your corners are protected. So I like to take just my edge of that bone folder, tuck it in. It's going to cover the edge of my chipboard. And when I fold it over, it won't show. So now I'm going to take this against my table and I'm going to bend it. Again, same thing as before. I'm kind of breaking those fibers. I'm going to do that to this other side because I haven't, you know what, I'm going to wait until I do the corners to do that. You can, but I'm going to wait this time. And then I like to take the back of my bone folder and kind of go up against here. And really get it to start folding. Okay, Now I'm going to take this tape backing off and I'm going to add my glue. And we're going to fold it over. Man, I don't think I could get these corners more perfect again if I tried. That just came out perfectly. It does not happen every time like that for me, just so you know. That was just a complete coincidence, and it happens that I'm on camera. So you see, there is that corner. I don't always get it perfect, but I try. Okay, so now let's do the other side. Again, we're going to take it and just tuck it in. Tuck in that corner. I'm going to do the other side as well. This side probably won't come out as well because there's not as much to tuck in, but I'm still going to try. And then I'm going to take it and bend it against my table, breaking those fibers. I'm going to use my bone folder. We're almost done with the cover. Taking my tape off, tape backing. Add in some glue. Sometimes people ask me, man, why do you charge so much for your books? Well, this is why. This is hard work, guys. Jeez. It is. It is some hard work. By the time I'm done with this, my hands are sore. So, okay, so now we have our cover. And what I'm going to do is to start creasing here. I'm going to lift this up just a little bit. Now don't lift it up too much. And I'm going to start taking my bone folder and just, this is why I like the score tape in the gussets here. Because now this is going to push that score tape into that gusset, onto that tape, and it's going to stick. And now I'm going to do the same here. Lift up slightly so it creases. And then, I'm sorry I'm shaking the table and the camera. I'm going to get in those gussets. And now you should be able to fold your hinges. So there's the first one. I'm going to flip it over this way because I like doing it this way. And I'm going to do the same here. I'm just going to use the edge. Don't rub too hard. Or else you could go through the cardstock or tear it. That's bad. That's why you're lifting up on the book a little bit. You don't want to tear your cardstock. That would be sad. Okay. So now I'm just going to keep bending, and over. So here's our cover. Pretty cool, huh? Not too shabby. So I used like a little policy envelope closure on mine. So what I did here is I punched a hole right here using my Craftology. I took some of this little elastic and I threaded it through the hole, and then I put the eyelet in and punched my eyelet. And that secured the elastic on this side. I did this before I added the pattern paper. Same with this. I punched a hole using my Craftology, and then I took this brad and put it on this cardstock to give it some weight, and also because the brad has jagged ends and I didn't want it to tear my elastic. And then I just stuck that brad into the hole, and I put score tape on the other side, and then I covered it with paper. And so this is what you get, where you can just do that and loop that over the side and it stays. You could also do two where you should wind the string around if you want. Hobby Lobby also has some clasps, but I found that the little clasps things, they only work well with gatefold albums when the covers line up like this. When they were different, you know, what am I trying to say? They don't work. Anyway, so this closure is my favorite one because I like the elastic and I think it looks cute. What else can I tell you? Let's talk about, now before you add your pages here, you need to cover this with paper. So don't glue down your pages until you cover this. So to cover this, I would cut my paper to 7 1/4 and then I would do by 12. So you really only need enough to cover this right here and this right here, so that because then your decorative paper is going to go over the top. So once you've added your paper, do y'all want to go over that real quick? Why not? We're here. Let me grab, I'm going to have to stretch my cord across the way. Let me grab a piece of paper and cut it to 7 1/4. I'm going to cut mine to 7 1/4 by 6 and see if that will work. So that way I have 2 pieces. Okay. And then we can add our pages, and that way you've seen the whole process. I really only need it to cover this right here, where the hinges are, and this right here. So let's do that. And I'm just going to add glue. I think maybe before I might have added score tape too. I don't think that's necessary. I'm just going to do glue all over the page. And you know how I am. I don't, for some reason I like to do squiggly lines with my glue. I don't know why. So here I'm going to take and I'm going to plop this down here. And the point is just to cover where those hinges are. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to work in those gussets. Again, I need to pull up on this while I'm doing this, otherwise I'll tear this paper. Then you got to start over. Same here, I need this gusset set too. Okay. I think I like adding the tape better, and I think that I did that. I think I like adding the tape around the sides. So I'm going to do that for the next piece. This will hold just fine. So I'm going to fold this, and I'm going to kind of fold it down the other way. There we go. Nice, good creases. Okay. I think I am going to add tape because I like that. It secures those sides without me having to worry about them while I'm doing the insides. So I'm just going to add tape to the perimeter. This is 3/8 of an inch tape, but 1/4 inch will probably do fine, whatever you have. I typically buy 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and 3/8 of an inch tape. That's what I use on my albums. Okay. And then I'm going to add my glue to the middle. Here we go. I'm going to line it up. Should have about 1/8 of an inch on each side. Let's stick it down. Now the tape is going to hold those sections down, those corners down, and I get to focus on this. Now I'm pressing down pretty hard on this, but I have broken through my paper before on accident. Yeah, that works out much better doing that tape ahead of time, so that was better. I don't know why I felt the need to skip it in the last step. Okay, so here's our covers. And now they're going to be more stiff just because you have paper on both sides. That's okay. As you work with it, it will loosen up over time. And part of this is because it's the craft cardstock, and the craft cardstock tends to be more thick anyway, stiff. Okay, now that I have this done, I can add my pages. So remember this gusset that we had? You're going to add your page by adding glue to this hinge. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And you are going to add it in the middle, right before the gusset of that first spine. Okay? Make sure it's even on all the sides. Okay, so I'm steering clear of this gusset right here. My page is right up against that. So I'm going to flip this over so you can see. I'm going to really make sure this is stuck down well. So, do you see the need for this gusset? That's our gusset. Because when you flip the book this way, it makes it lay flat. If you didn't have this, your book would stand up like this if it was too short, which is what my first book did. Which is okay. I mean, the book still functions and works okay, but I like it better when it lays flat. So, then here you're going to do a corner pocket. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you... I can show you how to put it on, but I'm not going to actually glue it on because I like to add my pattern paper first. So I would cover this with pattern paper and then add my pocket probably on top of that. That's what I did for the other album. I don't want to get my glue all. Oh, so remember that corner pocket that we had extra? This little guy? He's going to go right here. So what I like to do... And it looks like he's just a tiny bit, this one for some reason, the other one fit perfectly on my other album. This one seems to be a tiny bit over into my gusset here, so I would just chop that off. But you're going to glue it here. And so you can mat this with flap with paper first, which is what I did, and then glue it down, or you could glue it down and then mat everything with paper, whatever you prefer. So, what else? Let's cut this corner pocket in half. So this piece was cut to what? 7 by 7. And then I scored on all 4 sides at 1/2 inch. And I'm going to cut this in half, and we're going to use both pieces. Okay, so again, we're going to miter the corners just like we did on the last one. We need to fold on the score lines and then cut off the wings. And then this is it. I've told you all I know after this. Until the next book. Okay, so you're going to have 2 pieces like this. So what I do to put them in the cover is, like I said, I'll mat this piece first with my pattern paper. And then I'll glue this hinge right here down here. And I'm going to stay away from this score line right here. So my pocket should line up with the bottom of the pattern paper, okay? And so you're only going to glue this side down first, just this one hinge. So you should be able to flip this way. You're going to do the same with this. You're going to put glue right here, and you're going to stick it down here on top of your pattern paper. So then you have 2 that are like this, just glued down on one side. Then what I do is I flip them up while they're attached. I add glue to this side and to this side, and then this is hard to show without gluing them down, and then I carefully fold them in together like this. See how that looks? They're folding in together. One hinge is fitting inside the other, and then you glue them down flat. And I hope that that makes sense and is not way too confusing. I guess if you wanted to, you could probably glue this all the way down first, and then you could stick glue on here and then stick it inside of here and glue it down like that. Whatever's easier for you. It's tricky either way. Or maybe it would be easier if you glued this one down first and then stuck this one inside, because you're not right next to the pages. Like that. Either way, it's a little tricky. So if you can't get that, adding them both together, you could always just do one pocket on either side, one corner pocket, and it would still look cute. So whichever way you prefer. So this book is done and ready to be decorated. So maybe I'll come back with another one of these to show you how I decorated the craft cardstock one. Maybe in a fall theme. We'll see. That's it. That's all I have for you. So finally the video is done. I'm sorry it was so long, but that's what happens when you do the covers and everything too. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, then please let me know in the comments down below. Send me a message. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, LM's Crafty Creations on Facebook. And I'm working on getting my Instagram up and running, so be on the lookout for that. It's coming soon. So that's all I have for you guys. Visit countrycraftcreations.com to purchase this kit. It is a super cute kit. I'm not the only person who did a project for it. Kim also did a super cute box project with these adorable treat bags that is so cute. So check out her project as well, and thanks for watching. See you next time.